What is up, YouTube fam? Robbie C here. Today we're gonna find out, is the Buzzsaw in trouble? It has 3 competitors that have risen up to challenge for its spot. But I'm not gonna lie, I did throw a few warm-up shots, and these, they're looking spicy. Before we dive in and talk about what we've got, we gotta ask the most important question of the day. How you doing today, Lillian? Are you having a good one?
So catch me if I fall.
So for those of you who have seen, it's been the Discraft invasion of the bag for the year, and currently we have the Buzzsaw, a ESP Buzzz, and a Big Z Buzzz in the bag, as well as the Buzzz SS. It's a lot of buzzes, but as I've continued to throw this, and as we're seeing the power increase that we'll be talking about here in the next couple of weeks about adjustments to the bag, I'm finding that this particular Buzzz, while a more overstable run of Buzzes that is out there, just may not have the integrity that I'm looking for every single time out of a shot that I want to make sure that it's fading every time I throw it. Because sometimes you can just really get a hold of this and it's gonna hold straight and do what a Buzzz does, and then it just might fall out of the sky instead of getting the sharp fade that I'm looking for. So went out, asked the birdie fan for some options, and we landed on really 3 options that I think could contest for this spot. But another really cool feature about this is forehands. I really want to be able to have like a little bit longer of a forehand instead of having to go straight from my approach disc all the way to a felon. And I think these could be it. We have from Innova, we have the Rock X3. When I was on Team Innova, this was a disc that ended up being an absolute lifesaver for me. It was so fun, so great, really good, throws straight for a good bit, and then it just fades. It has that fade, that hookup every single time. Awesome disc. Next, we have the Trash Panda Canyon. Really enjoyed this. When I did my review of the prototype, one thing I really said its best shot for me was that forehand. So we want to see if today, coming at it with a little bit of different grip, different approach, that's going to help me love it on a backhand. And then last but certainly not least, I've caddied for him multiple times. Dear friend of the channel, love this guy to death. So we had to check out the Quake. This is the new Tour Series Quake for this year in the, I believe they call it granite plastic, but really, really cool. And what I've seen Sully do with this, handles his forehand options, has some really cool flex capabilities. If I had to guess, I think that this is actually going to be the most overstable, and then the Rock X3, and then the Canyon, but we'll see as we get out there. I want to show you a couple shots and kind of share my thoughts as seeing what could make the bag and what I'm looking for out of this slot. So I don't think I'm going to be throwing the Buzzz that many times throughout the video, just because you guys have seen it. You've seen it in every Buzzz battle, and we'll be curious is we'll probably actually end up shifting the Buzzz battles just a little bit in order to say, hey, now they're fighting the ESP Buzzz as well as the Big Z Buzzz versus the Buzzsaw if this ends up coming out of the bag. So this is a fresh look. We've thrown a couple shots, we haven't thrown a ton, so let's see how things are feeling coming out of the car. Yeah, you can see it just holds really straight. But even on its fade, it like comes back to the initial line that we put it on. Not necessarily all the overstability we're looking for. We'll start with the Canyon. This is what's currently in the bag. And you can see a little less glide for sure. I didn't throw it. I would say I didn't throw it as well, but it definitely faded. It didn't have any turn to it whatsoever. Let's start with the Rock X3. Okay, so that one, we got to hold up pretty well. We actually pulled it to the right and it still got the fade back. So that's a good sign for the Rock X3. And then last but certainly not least, let's look at the Quake. That's gonna hit a tree. Now what's fascinating about this particular slot for me, and I think that we've talked about it a lot on the channel before, but I want to take a quick moment to pause and discuss natural release angles. Depending on your natural release angle, there are certain discs that are just going to work better for you, or discs that may not work as well. If you're Gannon Buhr and your natural release angle is a little bit of Hyzer, then something a little more overstable is going to be your go-to for even a straight shot or a straight flyer. Thus, the Discmania Glacier was born as an opportunity for Gannon to just have like a really powerful disc that he can yam on and hit with just the slightest bit of Hyzer, and it's going to slightly flex its way out for a straight shot the entire time. However, when you go to the other side of the coin and you have someone like Kevin Jones, who naturally seems like he's trying to throw spike Hyzers every single time he's throwing, then you're gonna need something a little more on the understable side for that straight preference shot. Now, I find myself leaning closer to the KJ side of things, just in terms of really liking upbeat music, but also having that Hyzer preference, which means that for me, when I'm looking at something in this slot, I don't necessarily need it to be crazy overstable, because if I need that overstability, I'm gonna jump all the way to a Justice in my bag. I love a good Hyzer flip, and so therefore I'm gonna build my bag on that straighter to the understable side. But of course, that's not always the right choice, and thus really what we're looking for here. I wanna have a smooth controlled shot so that I can hit those technical lines that I'm looking for. The more overstable it is, the more power I'm having to put into it, and I'm having to take my focus off of form and mechanics and put it more into the power and the hit point, which is just gonna crush my accuracy for the short term. But I mentioned before, and I want to talk about forehands. We've been doing buzz battles on the channel all year long, and one of the things you'll notice when we do those buzz battles is when we get to the 4th hole of the video, I throw forehands on that hole. And as the series has progressed, I'm getting a lot better at throwing these buzzes and its competitors on sort of that touch forehand opportunity. But being 100% honest, these neutral to middle parts of the mid-range lineup in my bag, I don't often end up throwing on a forehand. I actually will throw most often on the extreme understable side, either my flip or my Buzzz SS. I'll throw that on a flip up forehand more often than I'll throw something in this more neutral category. And if I was trying to throw something like the Buzzsaw, I most often would just sort of disc down and go to straight pig that I know I can throw hard and flat and straight. But there are just times where I need a certain reliable distance and wind's kicking at me enough, and I know, okay, if I disc up to my fairway driver slot, then the nose angle is really going to come into play here, and also it's going to hit the ground and have a lot more movement. But also my pig or my overstable putt and approach slot is just not going to have the juice to get all the way there. So having a disc that I can lean on for easier forehand distance without having to go all the way up to a fairway driver is huge. Now, in all honesty, this was not a shot that I thought that I particularly needed. I felt really good about my forehand, and this is something that I know we shouldn't always watch the pros to see how discs fly, but we should watch how they attack the game, because sometimes how they choose to attack the game is just a nice oh, I should try to get there and emulate to that. And I look at Tipton, who has a phenomenal forehand. I would argue easily top 5 forehand on tour, if not top 3. And as I watch Sully, he balances his zone all the way up to his Raptor, and he has a quake that sits right here in the middle. And there were a lot of times that I thought, oh man, that's really cool how he is stepping into the quake in this moment, because he can tell he doesn't want to yam on his zone to get all the way there, but the Raptor is just going to go too far or be a little too touchy to get there. So we have here, it's a 250-foot hole. I think it plays farther than that. I don't know why. Maybe it's slightly uphill, but it is an island hole. So we're gonna try to go the forehand sort of up the gap and then let it push through and get to the island. I thought that would stand up a lot more than it did, but that's good to know. Okay, much better line, not enough power. There it is. We're on the island. It's one make for the canyon, one small make for Trash Panda, one giant leap for mankind. Okay, it's taking the long way. Oh, had the distance, had the power, just a little too long. And that one's gonna hit the tree again. So fascinating. The quake feels like it's coming out of my hand the fastest and the best. And so far on camera, I mean, it's just hunting trees. It's overcast here today, guys. So this video is taking extra long because every single time my disc touches the ground, I'm picking it up and it's like I'm playing in the middle of rain. Okay, we're going quake here first. What we wanna do here is there's a straight line, there's a turnover or forehand line, and then there's this flex line through the right. Now I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that I think that that is probably the lowest percentage shot, but it is by far the most, that's probably a higher percentage shot than maybe just straight up the gut. But for me, it's the most fun shot to throw, as well as being one of my more high percentage shots. What we're gonna try to do is we're gonna try to throw a slight flex around. Basically, you gotta come up the left side of the tee box and pull it to a slight flex down that right side. and then it should fade its way out to that gray basket that's sitting right in front of us. Here we go. Don't worry guys, that one's close enough we can pick it up and throw it again. Okay, let's be honest guys, none of those are great. Let's go pick them up and let's try again. You're not trying to yank it over, you're just trying to give it a nice pull. Like that. All right, Quake. This is tough because I want to love you. But if you hit a tree every time I throw you, that does not give me confidence. That one came out a lot cleaner. Came out a lot cleaner and it's under the bucket. That's really under the bucket. Got a couple holes left. You just gotta fly once on camera without hitting a tree. And that's on me, not the Quake. Now, when it comes to selecting a disc, an important thing for me is plastic availability and options. Because, you know, there are times where as a mold minimalist, where I'm trying to have certain molds cover as many slots as possible, I want to dream. I want to think about what could happen with the mold, what is the future of the mold. I think that opens up some pros and cons inside of even the 3 options I have. Probably in the dead middle is the Rock X3. The Rock X3, Innova made plastic, and because of that, it means that the variance for it is out there. I do think that the Rock X3 doesn't get a ton of love from the Innova world, but that's fine. We know very well the feeling of loving an Innova mold that Innova doesn't seem to love. And I would bet that there's probably some infinite mold that is also the Rock X3. Now on the lower availability and lower option side, you have the Canyon. We have really, because the plastic chooses Trash Panda versus them choosing the plastic, you never know sort of what you're gonna get. This run in particular has some flexibility to it. I don't necessarily love that. I love that I can put some grip on it and really try to hit it hard. But that flexibility is going to create some inconsistent releases for me, which could get in my head. If I have 1 or 2 in a row, then I'm starting to think about that, which is gonna make me lean on the disc a little less. But I also have to admit that of the options that I'm throwing so far, I really like this, and I like supporting a friend and the amazing work that he's doing. So the Canyon's got high vibes, but I'm just not entirely convinced. I know there was a Patreon only run that was base plastic, and I know that stiffer versions will come out available. It's just when and how that becomes available is certainly something to consider when choosing a disc. And then probably on the extreme side, I know inside of the Birdie fam, we have 2 guys, Nate and Mike, who are massive DGA fans, and they certainly inspired the title / thumbnail of this video. I know that the Quake, Nate described as a mold minimalist dream because it comes in a billion plastics. It's one of DGA's flagship molds, and because of that, you can really rely on it. I'm enjoying how well this thing's coming out of my hand. Like I said, it's just hitting a lot of trees, and that could be an issue. Another disc that I have in my bag currently that I also throw extremely well, feel like I throw extremely well, but it always seems to hit trees. It's green steel. This trail is amazing, but yeah, I just, I don't care if there's like 1 tree in a 500-foot fairway. Somehow, I always just seem to find it with green steel. What's fun about this hole is that it actually has like a multitude of locations. So we have a 220 foot to the short basket and then 280 foot to the long basket. What we're gonna try to do is we're gonna play the hole twice and we're gonna throw both. We're gonna throw to all 3. We're gonna throw all 3 to both. That was very tough. My brain is scattered. 4-month sleep regression for a little man is fully inactive. Turns out when you're growing teeth, you don't sleep that well. Really quaked that one. I think that just hit the cage. Like it's just, at home, you also have to be laughing at this point, right? Like you have to be laughing at this. Now here, I'm being 100% honest, I actually expect the trees to come into play because the trees down by the basket are like there to protect the Hyzer line, so that to force you to kind of go at it or get lucky through the trees. In classic Civitan, we're gonna wait on walkers. I think the release line that we're gonna look for here is flat to maybe baby and Hyzer, and just try to rip it right at the basket and see what we can do. Right into that tree. Tough. Okay. Okay, that went nowhere. That's tough. Off a tree. Every time. Good news is, guys, we've got 2 holes left for the Quake, and if it hits trees on those 2 holes, that's just not good. What we're trying to test here is 280 feet. We're trying to go through a gap straight and see how much, when the disc runs out of gas, how much fade does it actually have. We'll throw the buzz saw to see what it does. Flirts with that tree and then makes its way down towards the basket. Had a lot of low speed stability, which is good. It just didn't go anywhere. That's the issue I'm having with the Canyon right now, is I feel like on everything but a forehand, the Canyon goes like 20 to 30 feet less, at least, than the other options here. Like, see, I feel like we didn't hit the Rock X3 any like better than we hit the Canyon. Oh, we did it? We did it? What world is this? 307 feet to the silver basket, 268 to the short. Usually when I play to the silver basket, out super wide, which is what we're gonna try to do here. Unfortunately, the line is just becoming harder and harder. The tee pad is literally broken on the front left, which is where you want to step. And these bushes are growing in, but we're gonna try it. Okay, it's not bad for the red. It's not great. It definitely came out early. Okay, about the exact same line, which makes me think that the miss or the error is the same. I'm letting my elbow drop and get pinned. So we gotta pin the barrel. Yep. Rock X3, we made the correction. But that is gonna wrap it up for my video today. Final thoughts. Let's talk in order of most impressive, least impressive. The Rock X3 was the least flashy of all of them, but quite consistent. I appreciated it. I think it felt the worst on a forehand out of all 3 of them, but still had pretty consistent results. I feel like I auto-corrected on the Rock X3 the most, and I'm partially wondering if that comes from the Rock X3 is the only mold of the 3 that has ever spent time in my bag. Basically my entire time at Team Innova, I had a Rock X3 in the bag, so I'm very familiar with that disc, and I wonder if like subconsciously that was showing. But I thought it was good. I think it's a very reliable option. I think that it is, like I said, maybe the least flashy, and like it also lives in the middle ground of the plastic options. So I thought that was really good. Just maybe not where we land right yet. The Canyon was honestly the disc I was probably like most hopeful would make the slot. I want to support Jesse even more so. I have the Ozone in my bag, and I like the Canyon hand feel a lot, especially with the non-proto version where they moved the parting line inside of the bead. I think it's phenomenal. Feels fantastic. I would highly recommend this disc to a ton of different people, and it supports an amazing company. I would put this in there for the forehand alone. I really loved it on that line. I think that it notably going shorter every single time on the drives, especially the backhand drive, that's tough. Which means our winner is probably going to be the Quake, holding down the slot for a little bit. This should be one of the final pieces of my in the bag pre-power. So look forward to that coming out soon, because I think it'll be a fun journey seeing that and how we adjust as power gains come. But yeah, I think the Quake, I talked about it inside the Discord with the Birdie fam a lot. And I think as I was trying out and talking about options, I said over and over again, it probably is just a Quake, but I haven't thrown the Quake in quite some time. Last time I really threw Quakes was when Tour Series 2024 came out. Excited to try this. I'm not entirely sure that this is going to be the one that holds the slot down, just because it has a little bit of dome to it. So I don't want that to mess with my forehand, because I'm having to like grip in a weird way. But I love the overstability of it. And so definitely curious to try out some other Quakes. I know Sully, his Quakes, he's throwing his pickleball Quakes, and they're like board flat on top. So may have to see if I can talk to the peeps at Ledgestone and maybe get some of those board flat ones. Excited to try this. And I want to take a quick moment. You've heard me talk about it a lot in this video, but the Birdie fam. We have a Patreon community, and it is a community of disc golfers looking to improve one stroke at a time. We have daily discussions happening. Inside the Discord, it's probably close to 200 people talking. There are conversations happening where we're all trying to improve and get better. So I really love that community. And we do monthly form reviews. There is a Patreon exclusive podcast. just all sorts of content being layered inside of that. And so be sure to check it out, patreon.com/RobbieCDiscGolf, or there's a link in the description below. So all that to say, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Please make it fantastic for someone else too. Let me know in the comments what discs you throw in this slot. And if you're a Quake lover, what Quakes should I check out? Are there any nifty runs to look for? Or stock SP is the other one that I have that I was holding on to as a placeholder until finding or getting this Tour Series one. So excited to check it out. But for now, we're gonna leave you with the birdie.